in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make a landscape in Photoshop. And you are going to use value and scale in order to create the illusion of space in your landscape. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to search for a flat landscape, okay? And this is not something you're going to copy. Okay, we're just getting the color palette that you would like to use for your landscape. So I'm going to look under images. Now we're just looking for the colors you want to use in your landscape. So it's going to be a monochromatic landscape. So monochromatic means one color. And the way it's going to change is the darkness or lightness of that color. So for instance, in this one, the color is blue, and the darkest color blue is in the front, and then the lightest color blue is in the back. Okay, so the part that is closest to us is called the foreground, and then there's the middle ground that's in the middle, and then the background is like where the mountain is. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to right click and you're going to hit save image as, and you're going to save it to your Photoshop folder. Okay, so once you find one that you like, you're going to right click and you're going to hit save image as, and then you're going to save it in, you guessed it, your Photoshop folder. Okay. And then you're going to go to Photoshop, and you're not going to open that just yet. You're going to go to File, New, and we're going to create a file. Okay? So we want the width to be 11 inches, and we want the height to be 8.5 inches. And then we want the resolution to be 300. And we're going to click Create. Okay, great. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to open up the landscape file that you downloaded. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click on the Move tool, and you're going to drag it over to this untitled file. Okay, and what you're doing is we're going to collect the values that are in this picture, and we're going to collect those. So how you do that is you want your swatches tab open. If you can't find swatches, you go to Window and check swatches. Okay, and then what you're going to do is on the toolbar, you're going to select the eyedropper tool. Okay, and then in your picture, you're going to go to the darkest value and click on it. And then you're going to hit plus and OK. All right, then you're going to go to the one that's a little bit lighter than that. Click on it, hit add, hit OK. And then the next one that's a little bit lighter, plus, OK. And you're going to keep going until you get just about every swatch. Some of these kind of look the same. I might be collecting the same value. And we probably won't use all of these, but I'm just going to collect them all anyway. And is this different? This might be the darkest one, actually. Yeah, I think that's a little bit darker than this one. Anyway, okay, so now you don't need this layer anymore, so you're going to delete it. Okay, then down here at the bottom of your layers palette, you're going to add a new layer by clicking on the plus. What do you need, bud?
I'm getting a book.
Okay. Okay, so here's my layer and I'm going to name it sky. Okay, oops, I selected a color by accident. All right, what does it say? Oh, Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to create a gradient. And so you're going to, if you don't see your gradient tool on your toolbar, you can click on these three dots, go to Edit Toolbar, and then you'll find your gradient tool over here and you just drag it over to here and hit Done. Okay, so here's my gradient tool. And then up here, that is my gradient right now, but I want my gradient to be with these colors I just chose. Okay, so now you're going to click up here and you're going to go to your gradient editor and then you're going to click here and you're going to click the lightest version you got, say okay, and then you're going to click over here and select the darkest version you got and say okay. And make sure that if you see, sometimes it'll have like a very low opacity. You want to make sure your opacity is set to 100. Okay. And then you're going to hit okay. So if I click and drag up, it's going to go from light to dark. But if I click up here, it changes, right? So light on top, dark on top, okay? So I think I'm going to go back to my gradient. I think I'm going to make this a little bit lighter, right? I'm going to make it like that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go the other way. There we go. Okay, so here's my sky. So remember, you want different layers for everything. And there is a reason for this, so just do what I tell you to do. Okay, so I'm going to click a new layer, and this is going to be the first mountain I draw. So I'm going to go to my lasso tool, and I'm going to draw that first mountain over here, and I'm going to make mine a little jagged. Okay, and then go all the way around until it lines up. Let go, I get the marching ants. So then I'm going to go to my paint bucket tool, and then I'm going to go over here to my swatches, and I'm going to click on the darkest one I found. Okay, and then I'm going to click here. There we go. All right, so then I'm going to go here and I'm going to add another layer. And this layer, I'm going to go to my lasso tool. And for this layer, I'm going to do two. So not just one across, I'm going to make one here. And then I'm going to drag it around. And I'm going to fill it with the second darkest color. So this one. Okay, and then I'm going to drag this layer down here so it sits behind. Ooh, see, that's not really too much of a difference in color. So I'm going to go back to this layer and I'm going to choose a color that's a little bit darker. There we go. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I've got two mountains. Now I'm going to make one more on this side. So I'm going to go back to this layer, click on my lasso, right? come all the way around. Ta-da! All right, click on this tool. Okay, so now it made it the wrong color. So I'm going to go to my swatches here. Actually, I'm going to go to my eyedropper to get this color. And then I'm going to switch to my paint bucket. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to make a new layer. And I'm going to go to my lasso tool. And I'm going to make this mountain come out like that. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my paint bucket and I'm going to grab that color. It's a little bit lighter. I think maybe this one. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to pull that one behind these. Good. And then I'm going to do another one on the other side. Do it like in here so it looks like there's like a lake. And then when I go back, I'm going to do the underneath all craggly too because there we go. Paint bucket tool. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 more. So I'm going to click new layer. I'm going to drag it down behind here. Oop, I'm going to go right here. All right, so this is just going to be one big layer, just like we did in the beginning, or just like I did in the beginning. Okay, and if you want to move your layers because they're in the way, you can. I don't really mind. And then where I start to see it will probably be like here. Okay. So then I'm going to click on my paint bucket and I'm going to go here. And this looks like my lighter one. Fill it. Ooh, it's very similar to the sky color. So I'm going to click on it and make it a little bit darker. Say okay. There we go. That looks better. Okay. So now I'm going to go to select, deselect. Ah, there we go.